Max Weber's The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism, 1905, is a landmark work in sociology and the social sciences, offering a unique perspective on the origins of modern capitalism. Weber argues that the rise of capitalism in Western Europe is deeply connected to the values and beliefs found within Protestantism, particularly Calvinism, and how these contributed to the development of a specific kind of capitalist economy. Weber's thesis challenges the traditional economic explanations of capitalism, shifting the focus from purely material or economic factors to the interplay between religion, culture, and economic behavior. Introduction to Weber's thesis. Weber's central thesis in the Protestant ethic is that Protestantism, especially the doctrines of Calvinism, played a key role in the development of modern capitalist economies in Western Europe. According to Weber, the spirit of capitalism, a particular attitude towards economic activity, driven by the pursuit of profit and the rational organization of work, was not a simple product of economic forces. Instead, it emerged in part from the religious and moral doctrines of Protestantism. Weber sought to explore how religious beliefs shaped economic actions, particularly the practice of accumulating wealth through hard work and thrift. Weber's work is a reaction against the purely economic explanations of capitalist development, such as those proposed by Karl Marx, who saw capitalism as arising from material conditions and class struggles. Weber, on the other hand, emphasized the role of cultural and religious factors in shaping the ethos that underpinned capitalism. He observed that capitalism was most successful in Protestant countries, particularly in Northern Europe, compared to Catholic countries, where the economic and social structures appeared more stagnant. The Protestant ethic, Calvinism and predestination. Weber focused much of his analysis on Calvinism, the branch of Protestantism founded by John Calvin, because it contained beliefs that were particularly conducive to the development of capitalist practices. One of the central tenets of Calvinism was the doctrine of predestination, the belief that God has already determined who will be saved and who will be damned. This doctrine created a profound anxiety among believers, as it was impossible for individuals to know whether they were among the elect. This existential uncertainty led Calvinists to seek signs of divine favor in their lives, which they believed could be seen in worldly success and material prosperity. In this context, the accumulation of wealth was seen not just as a personal achievement, but as a sign of God's favor. This led to an ethos where people worked diligently, invested wisely, and avoided extravagance, all in the hope of demonstrating their election. Weber argued that this rationalization of work and the pursuit of success through hard work was a precursor to the capitalist spirit. Calvinists were not driven by a desire for luxury or indulgence, but rather by a sense of duty, discipline, and the need to prove their salvation through economic success. The spirit of capitalism. The spirit of capitalism that Weber refers to is characterized by a rational, disciplined approach to work, where economic activity is not merely a means to an end, such as survival or pleasure, but a calling or vocation, beruf. Weber contrasts this with traditional economic attitudes, where work was often seen as a necessary evil or a temporary means to earn a living. In capitalist societies, work becomes a moral obligation, and the accumulation of wealth is not merely about personal gain, but a reflection of one's personal virtue and moral duty. This shift in attitudes towards work was not a result of material circumstances, but a transformation in worldview, deeply rooted in the religious and cultural changes brought about by the Protestant Reformation. Weber's argument is that capitalism's rise was facilitated by the emergence of this rational work ethic, which encouraged individuals to pursue profit in an organized, systematic way. Capitalists in the modern world were no longer driven by the need to accumulate wealth for its own sake, but by an internalized sense of moral duty and the pursuit of efficiency in their economic endeavors. Rationalization and the bureaucratic state. Weber's discussion of capitalism extends beyond individual work ethics to include the broader societal context in which capitalism flourished. He argues that the rationalization of economic activity, the organization of labor, investment, and trade based on predictable, calculated methods, was essential for the development of modern capitalism. This rationalization was mirrored in the development of modern bureaucratic states, which Weber believed also had Protestant roots. In Protestantism, particularly in Calvinism, there was a strong emphasis on systematic discipline, order, and control. These values were later reflected in the rational, bureaucratic systems of governance and commerce that were essential to the functioning of capitalist societies. The rise of bureaucratic organizations, according to Weber, was not only a product of capitalism, but a key feature of it. Bureaucracy, in its most ideal form, is efficient, impersonal, and based on rational principles. It reflects the Protestant commitment to rationality and efficiency in all areas of life. This, Weber suggests, is why Protestant countries such as England, the Netherlands, and later the United States became the centers of modern capitalism. They had developed the institutional and cultural infrastructure necessary for the rationalization of economic life. The role of other Protestant sects. While Weber's primary focus is on Calvinism, he acknowledges that other forms of Protestantism also contributed to the rise of capitalism in different ways. For example, the Protestant work ethic was also present in groups like the Puritans in England and the Pietists in Germany. These sects, though differing in their theological outlooks, shared a commitment to personal discipline, asceticism, and the rational organization of work. Weber suggests that these values, which were common among many Protestant sects, fostered an environment where individuals were encouraged to pursue economic success, not for the sake of indulgence, but as a sign of moral virtue. The Protestant emphasis on individual responsibility and the rejection of traditional forms of authority, such as the Catholic Church, also played a role in fostering the development of capitalism. In Catholic societies, economic activity was often subject to religious supervision and limitations, such as restrictions on charging interest. Protestantism, in contrast, was more tolerant of entrepreneurial activity and allowed for the accumulation of wealth, provided that it was done in a rational and disciplined manner. Weber's critique of Marxism. Weber's work is often read as a critique of Marxism, particularly Marx's materialist conception of history, which views economic conditions and class struggle as the primary drivers of societal change. Weber's thesis in The Protestant Ethic is that ideas and values, in this case religious beliefs, played a significant role in shaping economic systems. While Marx emphasized the material conditions of production, Weber highlighted the role of culture, ideology, and religious belief in shaping the economic structure of society. In contrast to Marx's deterministic view of history, Weber's argument suggests that the development of capitalism was not inevitable, but contingent upon specific historical and cultural factors. Weber's approach allows for a more complex understanding of the rise of capitalism, one that includes both material conditions and the cultural values that shape human behavior. Criticism and legacy. Weber's thesis has been both influential and controversial. Critics have pointed out that his argument oversimplifies the relationship between religion and capitalism. Some argue that capitalism could have emerged in the absence of Protestantism, as economic forces and technological changes may have led to the same result. Others contend that Weber's focus on Calvinism overlooks other factors such as colonialism, the rise of international trade, and the development of new financial instruments, which may have contributed to the spread of capitalism. Despite these criticisms, Weber's work remains foundational in sociology and the study of capitalism. His exploration of the relationship between culture, religion, and economic behavior has inspired countless scholars to examine how values and beliefs shape social and economic systems. The concept of the Protestant ethic has become a key idea in the study of economic sociology, and Weber's broader work on rationalization, bureaucracy, and the development of modern capitalism continues to influence social theory today. Max Weber's The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism presents a compelling and nuanced argument about the relationship between religion and the rise of capitalism. By focusing on the Protestant work ethic, especially as found in Calvinism, Weber suggests that religious beliefs played a significant role in shaping the economic behaviors that led to the rise of modern capitalism. His work challenges traditional materialist explanations of capitalism, highlighting the role of culture, ideas, and values in shaping economic systems. Though controversial and subject to criticism, Weber's thesis remains a foundational contribution to our understanding of the development of capitalism and the role of religion in shaping economic behavior.